There are tens of thousands of small and medium businesses around the world. Some of them might have the product, service, or solution that you have been looking for. In this series, we meet the entrepreneurs and find out how you can benefit from what they have to offer. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises provide more than 2/3 of all jobs worldwide. These types of entrepreneurs support their community and contribute to its identity. Let's meet one of these people today and find out more about them on Meet My Business. Joanne Moorhouse, you're in the UK. Where exactly in the UK are you?
I'm in East Yorkshire, so sort of the northeast part of the country.
What you do has really shown how the world has shrunk over the past few years. I mean, just the fact that we can talk online like this is something that was really not something we thought we could do a few years ago. And you do something quite amazing, remote photography. Please tell me all about that and how your business is doing.
Well, definitely there's been a lot of opportunities to find new ways, get creative in how we go about doing our day-to-day in business, and remote virtual photography is one of those areas. I started my business back in early 2019. Photography's been a lifelong love of mine, and it was a goal to turn it into a business. At the time, I was doing my business part-time while also working outside the house for another employer while I built my business up. Then came the pandemic and I, within a matter of 48 hours, I was no longer able to do my business the way I knew how. And thankfully, within, I don't know, it was shortly thereafter, the mentor I was working with at the time found out about virtual photography. So I explored that and decided to incorporate it into my business, and it's just opened things up and is now what was going to be just a temporary option while we've had pandemic restrictions is now a permanent offering, and has allowed me to meet people like yourself and others around the world that I might not otherwise have.
So what is the ratio between you actually going out and shooting with a camera and you doing virtual remote photography?
The remote side of my business is the predominant side. I'd say it's probably about 75 to 80% remote these days, and about 15-20% in person. The nice thing with remote photography is you don't have to try to arrange everybody to meet at the same location at the same time. I come to you wherever you are, so you can have that photo shoot regardless of where you are. It's quicker, and it's also a lot easier for a lot of people, because a lot of my clients, myself included, don't like having our photos taken, and having it done remotely takes that camera awkwardness off, and you end up having much more fun and getting the results you need quicker.
What are the challenges of working remotely? Surely if I'm here all by my lonesome and there's nobody to hold the phone, tell me about some of the challenges that this brings with it.
The main challenge, I guess, would be on my side of it. I've probably not visited the place that I'm going to be photographing at in person, so I'm not familiar in advance, other than what I've spoken to with my client beforehand, of what it's going to be like. So how I'll be able to get photos, what locations might be good for the photos. So it's a lot of thinking on the spot, which is a lot of fun also. With clients, there's not really a lot of challenge. I guess it's just getting your head around how a virtual photo shoot works. And if you are on your own, I have lots of ways of being able to get those photos without worrying about having someone there to hold the phone. Or if you don't have a tripod, that's not a problem. We just use everyday objects or however we can to prop up the phone so that I can get the photos we need at the right angles. So a lot of creativity and on the spot thinking to get it accomplished.
There's something nostalgic for me about a camera. And growing up with a camera in the hand and film that you go intake to be developed, and then you have the choice of the films that didn't come out. It was always a kind of a Russian roulette. And it feels to me these days it's become so even remote now, not even technological, but so remote from us. And it's something we all do all the time with our phones. Do you think we've lost a bit of the magic of photography, or has this device, this cell phone, really set us free to become much more than just photographers?
The cell phone has definitely brought photography into a lot more people's hands than before. I don't really feel a difference because I mean, back in the day, I was doing film photography and a little bit of darkroom. There's always the fear of, did the photos I take, are they going to come out during the process? With digital photography and remote photography, it's more instant, so you can be creative in other ways. So in how you edit the photos, you can see as you're taking the photos what the results are, so you can change your angle or use that to help. You might capture a photo and then think, oh, actually from this angle it might create a whole new message or feeling, and then you can be creative that way instead. So there's pluses and minuses for everything.
We used to say, if you take bad photographs, it's because you have a terrible camera, but that's not true. It's not your tools. It's how you use the tools that make you the expert in it.
Yeah, it's what you're seeing and your vision for that photo.
So who are your favorite photographers? Who do you look up to go like, these are really inspirational pictures?
Well, I've always liked Ansel Adams. Often when I'm not working, I'm still taking photos because it's just a love of mine. So I do a lot of photography out in nature, historic buildings, wildlife, just sort of capturing what I'm seeing. So Ansel Adams is a big one of mine.
And if a
plus growing up, I lived in California, so he did a lot of photography in Yosemite. So
okay, I was reading a biography recently of the father of modern photography. I forget his name now. Old man with his box camera, and he introduced world famous artists to the US with his tiny little gallery, and he revolutionized photography also. It's come a far way. I mean, since when was the first camera invented? 1860, 1870, somewhere there.
Yeah, it's about that sort of time, I think.
Yeah, and to think,
I can remember having the little disposable cameras that you turned the whole camera in, and magically in a week later you got photos. Okay, so I'm interested to find out, if somebody comes to you and wants to do a remote photography session, what are the sort of things that people usually book? As probably weddings or more portraiture or events? What do they book for? Well, in my business, I work primarily with other businesses. So I do a lot of branding or lifestyle photography, headshots, anything you need imagery for within your business and your marketing. That's generally what I work with. But if I'm asked, I will also do other areas of photography like family sessions, pets, couples, all of that. I mean, property photography I can do as well remotely. I would leave things like weddings and real close-up photography, I would leave that more to the traditional in-person session. But otherwise, everything is fair game for remote photos.
But you need at least one person at the other end to hold the camera, and you can't just do
it. Or somewhere to set it, prop it up so that I can get the photos.
Now, talk to me about the book. It's the book about remote photography or photography in general.
My book, Remote Stories Around the World, it started as a photo project back in, well, I was talking about it with a friend in late 2020, and then sort of sat on the idea for a while, and until it developed into a project to take me around the world using remote technology to capture people around the world. And it ended up being a 2-year project. I think I visited 11 countries without leaving the UK. And it's the beginning of the book is about remote photography, how it came about, how it compares to traditional photography, and sort of giving you a basis of what it is. And then the rest of the book is all stories of the people and the places that I photographed around the world. And it's been a really fun project. There may well be future editions. I haven't decided yet. There's still many countries to capture, but it was because I love travel as well as photography. So it was a great way for me to feel like I was traveling when the world was so closed off and with the pandemic. So
I have to ask, which of the pictures in the book stand out for you as being the most unusual or the most interesting place?
Well, the hardest session to arrange was the one I did in Australia because of the time difference. But that was probably one of the best sessions that I did. It was on a beach in Victoria, and they were up very early in the morning, and I was up quite late the night. I think it was the night before, with the time differences. And we just got some lovely photos of the old pier and the city in the background. And so that was a lot of fun. That stood out.
Yeah, that's of course one thing one always has to take into account when you work online and meet people is like, what time zone are you in? Are we in the same time? Because it can get very tricky, hey?
That and language issues could be an issue, but thankfully I didn't have any of that problem this time around.
So if people want to contact you, where do people find you?
Probably my website is the best first start. It's moorhousephotography.com. I've recently put out a video series. It's a video FAQ around the most commonly asked questions I get about virtual photography, from how what quality the photos are to how is it possible. All those, there is a link to it via my website too, so you can get all your questions answered, and then I'm always available for a chat.
Okay, fantastic. And you're on LinkedIn as well?
Yes, LinkedIn and under Joanne Moorhouse, and I'm also on Facebook as Joanne Moorhouse Photography.
Fantastic, Joanne. And where's the book available?
It's available on Amazon.com or Amazon, any of their platforms right now. You can also find it via my website. I will be releasing it more widely in the next coming months, but right now it's just Amazon that carries it.
Okay, fantastic.
And it's available both hardback and paperback.
Make sure you support micro, small, and medium businesses. Find the contact details of today's business in the description and comments. And join me next time as we discover another business in Meet My Business. Meet My Business is a Baird Media production. For show credits and more information, visit baird.media.